Brownsville Area the Brownsville Area School District Board of Directors will meet for planning session on Monday, March 16, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. in the auditorium of the Brownsville Area High School, 1 Falcon Drive, Brownsville, PA, for general purposes. That was our call to order. And at this time, I believe, Keith, you have a list of folks that may be signed up for public remarks on agenda and non-agenda items. Mr. Vojacek. And just as a reminder, if you've signed up, do you remember, Keith? 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Vojacek.
Good evening. I'm here speaking on behalf of our district precedent program. As you see in your packet, we are requesting assistance from the district purchasing additional wrestling competition mat. I want to make it very clear, we are not asking for another mat. We are asking for an additional mat because I'm going to go into the need. At a glance, I got some of these numbers from the athletic department, Mr. Barrett. This year, our 5 duels, the ticket sales for those 5 duels created $2,800. This year coming up, if we would be fortunate enough to get another mat, I pretty much already have it lined up to host what's called a quad duel, where we would have 5 other schools come here on a weekend to wrestle. There would be roughly a $300 to $350 charge for those schools to come compete at that quad duel, which would go back to the district. This is something that can be reoccurring every year. We can get into hosting tournaments. For example, Mrs. Vaughn was here a couple years ago. I was at South Allegheny. They was hosting what was called a Keystone tournament. It's for little kids. And I bumped into their athletic director. We were discussing things, and I had asked him a question. I said, "Sir, how much money is your district going to make this weekend?" He said, "About $7,000 to $8,000. That's just one day in sport, one day of the little guys and gals." Other sports benefit from having big events in our gymnasium. I do not like running concessions. I went to the basketball boosters. They did run the concession stand for all of our home duels, and they made $3,000. So the sport of wrestling is bringing people to our district, which is what we want. The price of the new mat that I had quoted is $11,256.87. This winter, we conducted an aggressive fundraising campaign where I wanted to come to the school board and offer that boosters would pay half. Now, I did get estimates from pretty much all the vendors across the country. One of the major problems is shipping. The cheapest mat's out of Texas, but their shipping was almost $3,000. Shipping for this match is $1,200. AK Sports is based out of Columbus, Ohio. I was talking with Brian Lewandowski, who is the assistant coach with the program. We come up with an idea of a 16-foot trailer. This mat will fit. Me and him will drive out there and get it and bring it back, which would save the $1,200 in shipping, which brings the number down to $5,028.45. Share. What I want to build on, and what I want to make everybody aware of, in our third year we had a 6-12 season as a dual team, which really might not sound that great of a season, but wrestling is a different sport. We were struck really bad by injuries this year. Take 2 of our better wrestlers, put them back in the mix, where they don't miss the season, we're definitely above 500. 3 wrestlers made it to the WPL championships. All 3 lost what's called the blood round. The blood round is when, if you win that match, you're guaranteed a spot on the podium, you get a medal, you advance to regions. We had 1 middle school wrestler who lost in a blood round at the District 7 Middle School Championships. And I want to rewind. I think it's very important that Lexi Lewandowski was one of the 3 to go to the Olympic Championships. He lost in the blood round. I'm very proud that we had a female wrestler go as far as she. Our high school district champions. In our third year, the kids could prep duels. And I'm proud to say that we have 5 National Wrestling Coaches Association Academic All-Americans and 3 National Wrestling Coaches Association Character and Leadership All-Americans as well. Oftentimes you hear in our district why our sports team don't do very good. I think we all agree it starts with the youth. Our youth program, in their third year, they had 25 their first year, 28 their second year, 38 in their third year. Their first year they had 1 girl, second year 0, this year 5. And we just recently had one of our elementary school district athletes place fourth at the Keystone State Championship.
Mr. Rojicic, I hate to interrupt, the time is up.
Yes.
Do you want to, okay. I'll give you one last comment there, go ahead.
And they also had 30 tournament of champions qualifiers over the course of that time, 5 placed, 14 kids went to states, and 1 placed with the states being held next week for this year. So this ask isn't for nothing.
Okay.
It's for something that we're definitely doing.
Thank you, Mr. Rojicic.
Can I ask a question? Miles,
Yeah, I think we can ask questions. Is that okay? Board? Yeah, sure.
So these are definitely on the weekend, right? These tournaments?
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
We don't have the capacity in this Columbia to hold a bigger tournament. We're looking into,
Well, not only-
sometimes they start off Fridays.
Right.
That's down the road.
Not only that, and I don't mean to sound selfish, but it does severely impact
Yes.
basketball practice. That's
Most of the things I talk about.
like high school basketball practice. Yeah. Okay. That's all I just want to put.
How long do these last? In other words, the payment of custodian security, who's paying that?
Well, it's a school-sponsored event this year.
If it's a school-sponsored event.
Yes.
So the school doesn't make anything from it, basically. If that's the way I understand it, because we're paying security, we're paying custodians, we are paying anybody else that has to be there, right? I'm just trying to understand this because we have a lot of schools to deal with. Referees absolutely better than paid. So I would like more information myself.
We would not, Mr. Bashir, we, as boosters, we would not charge, the school would charge a ticket fee to get in, and that would go directly back to the school. We don't, boosters, the program itself, I don't know how.
But the booster would have to make something. I mean, it would be defeating the purpose if you weren't able to make any kind of money. Does the concession stand make some money? Or?
So I don't, Mr. Bashir, I don't run a concession stand, I don't want to deal with it, that basketball running for us. We fundraise other ways throughout the year, we're pretty much we're fine. Ms. Columbia says, hey, for the basketball, we absolutely bring all everybody.
Well, your money would come then on the athletes, the fee for the athletes to participate in the event,
No, that money will go directly back to school.
as well as the ticket money for
Yes.
guests.
Yes.
I will say this, I attended multiple wrestling matches, and those youth events are amazing. They are amazing. I will say that. I mean, the energy in that gymnasium, the excitement, the joy on the faces of those kids, I haven't seen that in Brownsville School District in a long, long time. So I will say that you can't put a price tag on that. It's special. It definitely is special.
It was there with the basketball team in 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 15 went to the playoffs. The gyms were filled. So that's another sport that you haven't seen it, but again.
I was talking more about like late elementary. Yeah, not so much high school, but the elementary. Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Pat. I've seen all of them, but it's amazing to me. I was never a big fan of the wrestling, especially when I was up here.
I wasn't until
So I'm going to tell you what I have seen, my grandson, how he has changed. It is unbelievable, and anything I could do, I would help with that, because I agree with you what you're doing. We have, I know with Scott, with volleyball, we have tournaments up here, and I guess we paid for everything with that also.
Mr. Gates, I questioned volleyball junior high because a former board member paid $300 for their uniforms or singlet, whatever they wear, so we didn't buy it. So every sport should be treated equally.
I agree.
Is what I'm saying.
Right, I agree with you, Rocky.
No board member or no public person should be funding any kind of part to it. If they want to buy book bags or travel bags, that's fine. But we are to supply what's necessary by the PIAA, and that's where I look at it. So the teachers fund anything else they want. To hear that happened, I just heard that last week. I kind of blame maybe the coach on that, because every February, these coaches are supposed to tell the Board of Education, the administrators, what they need,
Sure.
and they don't do, not a lot, some of them do, a lot don't.
I
So we
agree.
don't know, so it could fall into that category to where the coach didn't say he needed this or she needed that. Then we get blamed for that we don't buy that. So I'm just trying to get everything down to the point where we're equal to all.
Any other questions for Mr. Vojasi?
No, I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Vojasi. Keith, who's next? This is suggestion. Hi. Again, 5 minutes, right? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Just 1 second, Mr. President. Mr. Dorsey and I are sharing a microphone because he doesn't have one.
Yeah, like a little microphone. Yeah.
No problem. I'm not gonna take that long.
Okay.
We closed the musical, last weekend, and I just wanted to come up and thank everybody for their support. We had 6 of those of you who are sitting here attend this event. I know some of you didn't have a choice because your kids were in it, but for those of you that didn't, you missed an amazing experience. This is the highest selling musical that we have had since The Little Mermaid. I can't go back and see the numbers for any of the ones prior to that. I've asked the ticketing company to pull the records and share them with us, but they changed servers and they don't know that they have those numbers any longer. So I can go back from The Little Mermaid forward. We outsold The Little Mermaid, which was the highest one since Matilda, on day 1. We sold, give me 1 second, let me pull the number up, 1,647 tickets in 3 days. That is outstanding for these kids. None of the shows sold out. However, we did 4 shows. It is hard to sell out when you have 4 shows. Had we not done the 4th show, though, we would have lost an additional 328 tickets. So we sold an additional 328 seats just by having that 4th show. So that's a lot of money that comes back. It was a fantastic event for everybody involved. By doing that, I really, want to let you guys know that our kids that are involved, I think we're the highest participation within the entire district. We capped at 84, I think, participants from kindergarten to 12th grade. Our kids have started, we'll just call it a trend just because that feels like the right word. Last year we went to 15 different musicals from local districts as groups. Some went to all of them, some went, in different places. That, to me, is probably one of the most heartwarming things. My daughter plays softball. I don't see other teams that come and watch your softball games, unless you're, in playoffs. They just don't do that. Nobody comes and watches basketball games. Very little football games are attended by football players. But we went to 15 shows as a group, and we've gone to 6 already in this season. That's something that these kids should be commended for. And all of that is because they just love what they do. The roles, Mrs. Ferrier this year, they're really wonderful. They are driving, pride in our students, and they're really showing that to each other and to, communities. So I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of the things that these kids are doing, what they're, striving for. I have some things that I will eventually want to bring to the board. I've been to a couple of different auditoriums and seen, their shows displayed on their walls. We don't have that other than this sign that we've had that's incredibly outdated. So I want to eventually, bring up some pricing on what that would I'm not sure who I have to bring that to or, you know, what that is done for, but I just want to let you know that that's something that I've been pondering and deliberating. But that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you bring up the auditorium, this auditorium's been neglected for years. There's multi things that need fixed, updated in here. And it's been talked about. But now, once we know that we have money to do something, this is one of the things. I keep hearing football field. So what about the auditorium?
I came from Brownsville. I was here when I was in school.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, is this the last facility to be updated? Because everything else, like the library, the
Pretty
auditorium,
much.
all of that, the cafeterias, this is really it. This is like the auditorium that we've had forever. So it would be. I mean, these, especially like, you know, our kids have talked for years
I
about
look
this
at it,
stage.
it pretty much looks the same as when
Yeah.
Dave Hattie was here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, you graduated in 81, I graduated in 82, I think it was the exact same.
I don't think that anything has been done to it, so.
Well, no, it was, when they did the high school and the middle school, new carpeting was put in, new seats were put in. There were some things done, we redid, the painting was redone, the back, the walls in the back. That has been done, new lights, but that's been, what, 20 years ago or more? Yes. But there has been some things done within the last, I mean, when they remodeled everything up here at the high school.
I love to hear that that's, you know, a thought for the future, that the auditorium could.
Just a comment, Mr. President. As athletic minded as I am for 40 years, I would like somewhere in this district that we start giving kudos to people who have, in education-wise, done something in this country, in this state. There are so many people that graduated since 1967 to the jointure that have become bankers or become small-time ballpark owners. We just don't do anything for them. It's all sports. Somewhere along the line, and I'm not one of those people because I'm sports-minded, but educationally wise, we need to go back and start some kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, alma mater, something of people who have turned up, and their pictures, you go to most schools, their pictures are on the walls of these schools.
Can I, just on that, I had a conversation with Dr. Martin at one of the last meetings when we were in the FRC. My nephew was Howard, he was the valedictorian for the graduating class last year. His mom and I were talking, and we find it kind of baffling that we're a school. Education is first, sports are second, but there is nowhere in any school, not just ours, that I have ever seen, that there is even a list of your valedictorians. Not a headshot, not a list, it should be on your walls.
You're right with that, I have
If I
never
may
seen
finish
one
my
anymore
comment.
either.
Yeah,
If
I
I
mean,
may.
you're here to learn. That's something to strive for. I know that there's schools that are moving away from, you know, valedictorian and salutatorian. However, it is something to strive for.
If
So-
I may finish my comment.
But Rocky, as far as you were saying, we did at one time have a committee who would pick, they would always have a banquet up at Hugo's. I mean, we've had different people in all walks of life. One comes to my mind is Ernie Walton from Hiller, who was in charge of he was president of Blue Cross Blue Shield.
We did something.
He was one who was, there's many others besides that.
But it didn't last. I'm talking
No,
about,
it didn't
I'm talking
last.
about valedictorian. I'm talking about doctors, lawyers, bankers, this person that owns the wild things. Graduated from here. And we don't do anything, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, it's just that we don't have any organization. If someone would take up an organization to start and have meetings here, just start looking up these people that graduated since 1967. Where are they? What have they accomplished? We know the sports model. There was only one athlete since 1967 ever made it to pro baseball, and that was Doug DeCenzo.
Sure.
His sign fell down 5 years ago. It's gone. You know, I'm going to talk about tonight about purchasing another one, because that was a wooden sign that our art department made. An aluminum sign is $1,200. But that sign's been lined out because in the newspaper said the game is at Redstone Field or Republic Field. That's not the name of that field. It's Doug DeCenzo Field.
Correct.
These are things that, again, athletically minded, I've been doing it all my life. But somewhere along the line, educational-wise, there are kids who graduate here as valedictorians, like she said, things that we can do. We should spend the money sometimes on that. You know, our athletic budget is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all I'm asking is, Rick, you're right, that did happen. I believe in the middle 90s that we did that. A group took over and just started researching all the people that graduated from Brownsville since 1967, not Redstone, not any of that. But I think we should go back to that, but I don't know, someone wants to be in charge of that. Educational wise, I'm not the one. So, but thanks for your comments.
Yep, and before any further questions or?
I just have one comment. Evie,
Okay.
Evie, I want to thank you for organizing the Cal trip for the music, even though it got canceled.
Yeah, we took
Um,
54.
yeah, you
54
took-
kids and adults to the California High School musical. Their power went out and we, weren't able to watch it, but we're changing it. We're coming back this Friday. And that's a huge number of kids to take it to their show.
And just shows that how we support
Other districts.
other districts and the program. So thank you for organizing that.
I just want to comment that the show was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes.
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Suggestion. Keith. Mrs. Gibble.
Good evening, board members. One, I do want to thank you for going to the musical. As somebody that participates in the back, I don't know if you're aware of this. We've actually watched, most of our middle schools actually started in elementary. I watched them in the back. So I'm just saying, to touch on what the wrestling program is doing, the youth program is already a peer programs. That is something that you want to focus on. And it's actually proven scientifically, psychologically, and everything else that if you can grab a child's attention before the age of 10, you have a better success at teaching them new things. In sports, musicals, and things like that, teach them more than just math. It teaches them social building, teaches them how to come out their shell. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, mentally, physically, emotionally. And it goes into a growth process. I will say that I did that the wrestling program a little bit myself, but taking back my what I've seen, I have some kids that I know that wrestle personally, and it is an amazing program. I do think Mr. Basic is onto something on bringing that here because it would bring a good light to our district. We are underpacked kids. And we are a big difference. Like, people don't understand we are a great community, but people want to realize we're not. Brownsville has got a great community base. I see it every day. I have people who will carpool for kids, pull together for kids like nobody's business. You just don't see it because they're quiet. But I am here to address some serious issues. I'm still waiting just to hear back from our Title IX coordinator for a Title IX disclosure form that I've been asking for over a year. This is a little bit disgraceful. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have to file formal complaints. Like, my next step is to go to the media to ask how should I handle this. Because everything that I've documented and said in questions, I know Mr. Dorsey posted on Facebook, my questions are welcome, but they're not. Because when I've asked questions, we've been shut down several times. I can take it back to my life that I have original recording. Also, the lives, I should not be the only one recording live. It was voted on in March. March, you brought it up when we had all the issues with hard power, and then in May, it was voted on. You guys were supposed to be live streaming this and not recording it. Yeah, well, it doesn't get uploaded in a timely manner either, and my live is actually watched by a lot of people who aren't even on my Facebook, because I do let it go public. But I shouldn't be, I have things that I'm getting into, and I'd like to still attend, but if I'm not here, I have to wait a month until you vote. That's not fair. How's that show true transparency? I'm still waiting to know how we're gonna handle all these different issues with the bullying in the middle school and in the elementary. The same situation that y'all know that was done with my daughter, I was made aware the same kind of situation happened with the kindergarten students. Now, if this parent reaches out to me, I'm going to advocate that they go the legal way. Because I didn't watch it, because out of good faith, I've been trying, but like, that's not fair. And nobody's taking me serious. Now, if you want these kids to follow the same standards that you put out there, shouldn't the expectation of the administration follow the same standard? If I don't have my documentation as a parent, you come for me, but yet you still can't answer the question, how do I have access to both my children? One for an administration building. Nobody can tell me this parent children disclosure form, nobody can handle conflict of interest complaint, even though per current policy it should have been handled. And I'm trusting you, and I gave you the access to codes, the FERPA violations with the health emails, and I brought up serious violations, and I've never, and it's not an embarrassment, it's because I care about this community. And I care about my district. But when are you gonna take have been told to watch my back, and we've already seen it, because guess what? CYS, you guys have to go hard too. I went after the county commissioners and CYS. Nobody has documentation to prove why CYS entered this building for a cost or concern for my children. Nobody. Nobody finds out ironic, but there's no retaliation. I'm gonna leave that with him. So I think we might want to do some homework for it.
Thank you, Mrs. Kibble.
You said that, you're not allowed to ask questions?
No, because every time we do, we get told to make only comments. If you go back and watch every school board video for the past year, it's been only
Yeah,
comments.
I've been hearing that, and I've been wondering myself, because, ever since I've been on this board, the planning sessions were an outlet for the public to come in and ask questions. I know questions that have legal, personnel type of, questions like that, no, they're not usually addressed, but if you have concerns about certain programs or certain things that are going on, by all means, I feel the public should be able to speak up and ask those questions. Now, am I wrong? I don't know here.
Well,
When
just
did
like-
everything change?
Just like asking about simple, like, how do we handle what's considered harassment, so I know how to advocate better. There's nothing online. Like, the fact that I had to call and hunt down the timeline coordinator and not just go through on the app and was not listed, and I had to screenshot, please.
Some of those types of questions, though, could be, if you call the superintendent or someone,
But that's
they
who you
should
get a
be
call back.
able to
Hold on,
address it.
that's who you get a call back, because remember, I've been handing you guys all that information in January with the Title IX disclosure form in the formal federal act, and still haven't got a response, and I have called, I have emailed. Why should I have to go through so much work as one person to advocate for my own kids, when I've advocated for every kid in this district and our teachers, and to be mocked, humiliated? You know how many policies we put in place since I started speaking, by the way? I can tell you, we put in 4 since I started speaking. Let's not mention the fact that I didn't know anybody and I had an attorney lined up for a First Amendment violation from when I cussed for, when I stated it was the attorney that I was talking about.
See,
was
that might be part of the reason that you don't get all the answers you expect, because you always ask questions, and in the background, you're talking about an attorney.
Well, that's what they told us to do, educate. They told me to go and ask those questions. If you remember, whenever I first started this, I was told to educate myself.
Right.
So the best way to educate myself was to ask an educational law attorney. What better place than the DOJ themselves with the educational law? And ask them, how do we handle these situations? That's me utilizing my tools that you taught me in this very high school to do. Mr. Gates will tell you, I'm a very intelligent student. So I have learned. So if I have to talk to legalese, at first, if you remember, I brought up the bullying complaints. I still don't even know if you ever got your bullying reforms, because you brought it up publicly and it still was never announced. So how do we know what's going on? I brought up the same issues about the same things being not reported with the mandated reporting over the same person in executive sessions, in emails, everything else. I'm not trying to nitpick, but there's a serious concern here. Especially for somebody like me who genuinely believes in our school and can't even send my elementary daughter to the school in fear of what could it cause. And it's not out of paranoia, because I followed all my paths. You know I filed the PA right to know form. You know I have done everything legally I could have. So what point do I have when your own attorney told me to sue? So why wouldn't I bring up the legal codes? Because then, I guess I have to talk like an attorney. What do you want me to do? That's what I'm asking.
Well, maybe, just thought in my mind is, all these concerns that you have, you're not getting answered. Put those all on paper, in a
I
list.
have 19 emails.
Excuse me, hold on, let me talk. Put them on paper and send them to each and every board member, so that we can look at everything you're asking for and not getting.
Well, that's just it. Every email I send to school, I send to you guys. So everything that I have, I still have their responses.
And I think we need to be mindful of our position and what we can and cannot do.
And I respect that.
Right.
It's the fact that as the board members, your job is to hold the administration accountable. So if I'm presenting it to you at this point, that is your job as the voted officials to hold this administration accountable for things that I've been asking for. I went and followed your chain of command. So what do you want me to do after that? That's what I'm
I mean, yeah,
You can't answer the question because you don't know.
well, right, I don't know. I don't know, there are certain things that, you know, I'm not even privy to. So,
But every email that I send to school, I send you, so there's nothing that you're not privy to.
no, I mean, as far as, proper legal communication and things like that. Right, and we have run that through the solicitor. And we have run that through the solicitor. So, I mean,
There's no response. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
I can understand that.
And I don't just come here and advocate because I want to tear down. This is not about tearing down our district. All of you are in a very hard position. Even Dr. Martin and Andrea Crossbow and all of them handling these finances, you don't understand how hard your position
Right.
is. And I'm not discrediting that. That's why I called the department, like I was joking when I told Dr. Martin. I personally have called the Department of Education. I personally have called all these places. I'm still advocating because I think the PSEs are not the district's responsibility for our teachers to have to be accountable for. Our teachers are on overload as it is. They can't teach it. We're worried about standardized testing. Like, let's face facts. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to come at you, but like, if nobody's willing to work with me, then what do you want from me? Like, I'm not being unfair, then why nobody comes here and speaks?
Well, you know I'm willing to work with you, that's why I'm saying, hey.
But when you reach to,
When you're saying
reach
you're
all the
sending,
limits,
when you're saying you are, sending emails to everyone, I know in talking to you that you said that you gave certain information a meeting ago, and it was supposed to come to us, and I never got a copy of anything.
and I gave it to her because our policy 112, it stated, and that's when they placed it on after I gave you guys all those manila folders, that policy was placed back on that podium, and I took a copy. It states that we want to hand anything into the board, we are to bring it in and hand it to Jody, and she will scan it and email it in, that's policy 112, and I have a copy of it at my house and everything else that I do with the district. So I followed part of your policy because I figured if I did it that way, maybe I'll get better response, because I need to be respectful, I'm not, like, you know, I need to learn policy, that's why I come to you. But what are we supposed to do? Parents are dealing with bullying issues, they don't know how to resolve it. How do we come up with an issue to help deal with this on a community level? Because, let's face it, it shouldn't be all on you with these kids' behaviors. I watch these little elementary kids, and I'm telling you what, I had to run for my money, and I question how these teachers teach in a day. I'm just saying, we only had it for a couple of hours, like, how do our teachers accomplish anything with the behaviors? With them not wanting to stay focused, not listening, like, I give our teachers 120% credit, because I only get it for a few hours, and then I'm done. They have it for 5 hours trying to deal with, plus the IEPs, we have what, 33% IEPs?
Yes.
That's a high rate. But yet, one of our highest lawsuits is IEPs. So maybe we need to address, everybody's in a position on that board, and they have that better chances, because you're officials, voted on officials, to go to these elected senators and everything else. I mean, I know there's a business luncheon happening this weekend. So local businesses should go in, because the education in our area affects the businesses around here too, if people really think about it. If you're an uneducated economy, then you can't thrive. Am I wrong?
Are there any other comments or questions for Mrs. Gibble? Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Last night, I emailed some random board members about things that are in the budget. Nobody's fault here, but we're spending massive amounts of money. Things I don't know what they are, but I'm going to get to the bottom of them. I think Mr. Dorsey and I just spoke. I sent the random that I'm not sure how we're going to survive spending the way we're spending on the things we're spending. Now, there's a fact-finding situation going on. In the next couple of months, people are going to come to this board for a swim team, a tennis team, and a hockey team, two of which we can't do, swim and hockey, tennis we may. But we have to fund those because they're children of our district. If they want to go swim, they're going to go to Uniontown or wherever there's a pool, that's where they got to go. Would I be correct in saying that if they come here and their child wants to swim or their child wants to play hockey, and I think Ringgold has hockey, we would have to pay for the equipment, the time to go down there. Sure, they would represent Ringgold, but they would be our students. There's fact-finding going on now to come here with that, and I will totally support that, because I'm not gonna let one child who wants to swim out, or one child who wants to play tennis out. We have tennis. There's a big push for tennis to come back. So keep that in mind when we're spending money, because it's coming. And looking at the bills, the question on the bills tonight, and I'm certainly not pushing this on Colby, but there's things on here that I just don't understand why we're buying this program, because I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm just plain dumb about it. But I don't want to put my vote out there for something that's going to cost this district, and nothing with the administration now, but the previous administration bought programs to watch programs, So we didn't make any money. And I'm just saying right now, I've got questions, and if they don't get answered, my only resort is to vote no. So thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, and that was going to be my comment to that as well, is that, I think it's up to us, right, to vote on whether we support these programs or not. And I know on my time on the board, I feel like we have purchased things that were not, in my opinion, maybe didn't support education, which I know we talked a lot about athletics, and I'm all for athletics. I think that's great. But I agree with you. It's things that we have to look at and prioritize. Is this going to be for the betterment of the entire district? And I think, my hope, and in some of the past couple of months' meetings, I feel like we have been moving in that direction.
And Bob, my concern is some of these programs are locking us into years of contracts. Years of contracts. Okay, this year we pay $3,000, next year we pay $7,000, next year we pay $12,000. Well, do the kids benefit from that? Because we as board members don't understand what we're buying. If it takes 3 months for me to understand what the hell we're buying, then I will vote for it. But tonight, there's a couple things, if I had to vote tonight, it's going to be no. It's just going to be no. Because I don't know that money's being well spent. And I'm not blaming any board member up here. I'm not blaming any administrator. All I'm saying is, it is up to us 9 board members to look at what we're spending.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yep.
Mr. Bashir, we were talking, and there's items under education, item B, item C, item D, and item G. Before they get put on the agenda, we just had an education committee meeting. It would have been nice to have all these things explained to us, why we're doing this, how it's supposed to work, what it's supposed to benefit, and then appear on the agenda. I mean, it's on here.
Mr. Dorsey, I'd go even a step further, because on those items B, C, and D, when you look into the packet that we have, it's a purchase order.
Right.
They are actually renewals. We've had those programs.
And I understand.
We've had No Ready, we've had IXL,
Ross Gannon's been on the board for
Newsletter.
I'm not aware of these programs, but even I am, after the volumes of information that I get on a Friday afternoon to try to understand all this, it's very, very hard. If you only saw how much info we get 2 days before, Friday before the meeting. But these are perfect examples that the purchase orders are great. And I'm not saying we don't need that, but boy, it sure would be nice to have a lot more information about these programs, successes, these things, information.
And we'll
about
speak
them.
on that tonight.
Well, I have to agree with Ross.
I would appreciate if I could finish my point.
Of course, of course.
There's some excellent programs out here, but we are just not getting that information early enough in advance. So for example, the one on here, the Nusella, it was just like Mr. Dorsey said, the offer date was the February 5th, 2026. Like we could have, and I do apologize, and I know you called me out on Facebook for missing the meeting when I got stuck in a car wreck in Paw Paw, West Virginia on the way back from where, but that would have been a great opportunity to discuss this kind of stuff there.
And I think, Ross, I'd have to agree with you with your statement too, because even as an educator myself, I had to do some research and that on these programs myself, and to get that stuff on a Friday, that was a lot of extra. A lot of my time was on a Sunday morning was looking into these programs because all it was an invoice. So I would appreciate that as well.
So correct me if I'm wrong. isn't that what this meeting is for? A planning session? To review this and to ask? And we can table, we don't have to put this on the agenda for Thursday, if there's questions.
It would have just.
Am I wrong in that, isn't that the,
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying it would be nice to have that information. If we can get a purchase order in the packet, why can't we get the information about what the program is? That's all I'm asking. And then we can ask those questions, because now what's gonna happen, Dr. Mahalik, is that we're gonna have some questions. We're gonna generate more questions, and then we're gonna have more questions on Thursday, where I could have came in here today armed with questions or understanding, or I could have read and went like, dang, this is a really good program, I really like this. End of story.
And if these are truly just renewals, it should say that in motion. Because I'm sure everybody that's looking at these are figuring, oh, we'll buy a brand new program. But if we're already using them, it should be stated as a renewal, so we know that.
And Mr. Dorsey, I did mention that, putting renewal in there, and the reason that I did not is No Ready, we were using the free version of it. This would be an amped up version of No Ready. The high school teachers have asked me for that program since I arrived at Brownsville, and they have worked it out that they have utilized the free version of No Ready. They had a paid version like right before I arrived, and then went into the free version. So it's really an ask that they've had for a long time, and it aligns with the curriculum. IXL was at the elementary level. One teacher in particular has advocated for it nonstop and has wanted that program. We were able to pilot it this year for free, and it would be something that they would be able to utilize, and they truly do enjoy at the elementary level.
Now, all of these are for next year, right? And we're only going 1 year. Do we have any multiple instructional platforms that we have? We're not doing 2-3 years down the road with any of these, are we?
No, these were asked for by our educators and vetted by our educators.
Okay, and it's not like some of the ones before, which Rocky was saying, they would go for 1, 2, 3 years. This is only for 1 year, though. Correct?
Yes, these are.
So it will be this year and next year.
Okay, let us finish it. And then letter G is the personal finance curriculum, and it was vetted by the teacher who was going to teach this program. This is now mandated by the state. So we have to embed this course into the high school curriculum. The educator who is going to be teaching it vetted this, and this is the program that he would like to see.
This is needed, I think. We used to have something like this at one time, but personal finance for the high school is definitely needed.
Right. And this has been written into the Ready to Learn grant, all of these different programs that the teachers have asked for.
For whatever it's worth, I got to softball practice a little bit early today at the elementary school, and I did poll a few people, a few teachers, and actually a few kids who were still there. And every single person I polled, IXL got rave reviews. So I just wanted to put that out there. I learned that for myself. I polled the high school softball team about No Red Ink, and there's mixed reviews. Most of the kids don't like it, but they said the teachers love it. So that tells you something, probably. The teachers love it, the kids don't like it. They're forcing them to do some work. And then Newsella, I didn't get any negative reviews and I haven't talked to a whole lot of people. I was trying to talk to as many people as I saw here today. So that's for whatever it's worth, because I didn't know anything about the three of these. IXL by far got the ravest reviews. So that's just sharing what I learned with my fellow board members.
I don't understand why we have to buy curriculum. I mean, as a former educator, I wrote what we did. Now again, this was 30 years ago, but why do we have to pay somebody else to write curriculum? The finance teacher knows what they're going to teach. I'm sure there are state guidelines of what we need to, all the check marks that need to be done. can I get an explanation of why we have to pay an outside agency to do that stuff for us? Why we can't do it in-house?
When we have a curriculum board.
When we have, well, and I'm not saying that that should necessarily be her job, it might be to oversee it, but
Right, that would be an oversee on that.
right, but still, but why
But it
do
would have to be up to-
we have to pay an outside agency to do these things? I don't know, I mean, because law 604-25 says you do, right?
That's a good question, yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, it is, it's a very good question. And again, this is in like higher ed and university, faculty drive the curriculum, right? So, and Dr. Costable could probably speak to this as well. And I'm looking at our teachers out in the audience, right? Like, that's kind of how it is, right? The faculty drive the curriculum, and then it's voted on from an entire university standpoint. And again, that's college. But my point here is that I'm just happy to hear that this is being vetted and supported by our faculty. And so that, to me, means a lot. And I know Mr. Dorsey and I talked a lot about that too. So I agree with a lot of that. Dr. Costable, and I know there's standards that we have to, state standards that we have to meet, and there are probably peer-reviewed and data-driven practices that we need to look at as far as purchasing curriculum. But I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, or
Just speak on the curriculum.
you want to maybe use the mic there.
These programs are more supplemental from what the teachers actually wrote secondary. We will not be purchasing 7 to 12, any kind of English text in the next 5 years because of what the teachers have done through the IU. So these programs are just some supplemental tools for them to be able to use. We won't need a 5-year new, textbook program. We purchased some novels that they've requested, and again, these are just some things to help them easier in the classroom. These were highly recommended from the high school ELA teachers.
Yeah, and I think just another point to add is some of the, the initiatives that we've been doing with the literacy, and we're talking about math as well. My hope is that we can use some of that and some of that data to maybe change or drive curriculum that is in-house.
And the IXL program does a lot of that. We can use that local assessment data for, for different things and benchmarking and tiering our students K-12
Yeah.
eventually, so.
And, as I was just reflecting a little bit from the previous conversation about having the information beforehand, and I agree with you, we shouldn't be voting on things where maybe we don't understand or don't have all the information. Mr. Clark, yes, he's waving his baton at me.
Just on this, excuse me, this ready to learn grants, is this money that we have to use at some point too for this stuff?
Yes.
Or it just goes away?
Correct.
Like if we don't, I know that was explained to us before. I know all the board members have questions about this, but is this money we have to use for this?
It's allocated in different ways, but yes, curriculum is embedded into it, programming is embedded into
So
it.
we have to use it for something in the first place.
Yes.
Good
It's just getting
question.
the right program, but we have to.
That's a
use it.
good question, good point.